Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inventor Smart Community Book Club. And tonight we have Laura Fredricks. She is the author of #1 book, Hard Asks Made Easy. And we all know that we've been there at some point or another where we want to just say what we want to say, but there's something that's holding us back from saying it, or maybe how we should say it. I'm sure there's a lot of different levels of the way that things are said and what the meanings of them are and how to make it easier. So Hard Ass Made Easy with Laura. Laura, thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. Happy summer.
Thank you. So Laura, why don't you start off if you could tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I am a lawyer and a philanthropist and a journalist all at one time. This is my 7th book. Very, very proud of it and happy to share with all you inventors and entrepreneurs. I want to tell you how it came about. It was during COVID, that period we all don't want to talk about, but people were coming to me saying, in personally, how can I leave my husband? How can I tell my kids to get out of the house? How can I begin my next career? How can I tell my boss I don't want a 9-to-5 job? I really want to, bust out and do something else. And so the title came very easy, Hard Ass Made Easy. But my job was to make it easy. And we're going to walk through a lot of really, really great tips for all of you to be crystal clear about what you want and how to get it, because all of you are very, very brilliant minds, very creative minds. I'm an entrepreneur myself. And so my job is to make all of that essentially easy. Now, being a lawyer, I bring this and I have no qualms about this. What you hear tonight will be about organization, structure, and focus. Those are the
Great.
3 mantras that you will need: organization, structure, focus. I put that into the realm of the ask that's always been left to luck, chance, and time. And so everybody loves structure. I'm going to give you the structure to put into place, in addition to everything else you've heard from Andy and from Brian and from everyone here at Inventor Smart Community. I'm adding to your arsenal, but let me tell you, this works.
Thank you so much, Laura. And we're looking forward to hearing some chapters of your book and opening it up to discussion. So we do have some of our community members here. Hi, Evelyn and Marufa and Joe and Andy's on and LTS, Mike D, Abraham. We have quite a bit of people that are watching in the live stream on the Inventor Smart Community app, that if you are watching this wherever off our platform one day, you can go to Inventor Smart Community on Google Play and Apple App Store, download it, and you can watch the previous episode, which you're watching now. So let's get started, Laura.
Okay.
If you can show us your book cover, just so we can judge a book by its cover to start with, and then we get to hear what's inside. So if you
Sure.
can hold up your book cover, that would be amazing. I also put in the chat a link to her book to make it easy for you to find on Amazon. That's where most people have been buying their books lately. I think that's where it all started, on Amazon.
It did.
Book, right? So Laura, let's get started. You have many chapters in your book. You know who you're talking to. We're at all different stages. We're creative people, we're innovators, we're entrepreneurs. We're at all different stages of our ideas. Some of us have started and we don't know who to ask or where to go. Some of us are along the way. Maybe we started making a prototype. Maybe we started to work with an engineer or a seamstress, whatever it is. And then some of us are at the fork in the road. Are we going to manufacture it ourselves, start our own business? Are we going to license it for royalties? Are we going to just continue? And here we are, where we already have a finished product that we're selling. Right. And we're part of this community also. So they're from the idea in their head to already selling, and everybody in between. So Laura, let's get started. Let's hear a little bit about your first chapter. that you're
Sure,
discussing?
sure. Well, I've tailored this to meet your individual needs because that's what we do and that's what we need to know. But the overriding theme of this entire book and your careers and your creative ventures going forward is based on this. It's Laura's 5 laws of asking. Notice I said laws. They're not like rules that can be broken. They're laws. Do them in order. You will get exactly what you want. I've been doing this for 30 years in every realm possible, and they work. So here we go, Brian. Ready?
Let's
Number
do
1,
it.
law number 1. Know exactly what you want with numbers and dates. Law number 2, write. Don't think, write. 15 things you think the person's going to say to your ask. Whether it's join me, invest in me, where can I get the supply? Should I do this? Should I bill? Should I scan? I don't care what it is. 15 things you think the person's going to say to you. Then 15 things you'll say back. We all do it in our heads. We don't do it this way. Okay? Got it? This is the step everybody skips. Number 3, the biggest thing. Now notice, I am standing up. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'm standing up. Law number 3, it's time to shine. You might get one shot at this. So notice, I'm standing up. My voice is up. I don't care if I'm making a call, if I'm doing an email, I don't care what up, I stand up. I have a light, I have a camera right here, even though we have Zoom as our camera, okay? Time to shine. You have one shot at this. After COVID, sorry, gonna bring this all up again. People know exactly what they want and what they don't want. You're not gonna hear, I have to think about it an awful lot. Prior to 2020, you might have. Now, yes, no, in, out, which is why we had 15 things. This is it. Time to shine. Your tone and your voice are your superpowers. Make sure your tone is appropriate, not too sharp, not too whatever. Record it. Listen to it back. I did. I hated it. I said absolutely 1,000 times. Who knew? The other thing is, look, I'm perfectly aligned on your Zoom. Okay? When I didn't do this, I look like this, or I look like this, okay? Number 4, Laura's personal favorite. You did your ask, you hear something back. Reiterate what you think you heard. You're gonna hear something and you wanna sell and talk and promote and talk again. What exactly did they think? Okay, so this is what exactly what they said. Biggest thing, I have to think about it. What do we say? Oh my gosh, Brian, that's so good. I'll get back to you. This is great. When are you free? And uncommon. You will never, ever, ever do that again. Never.
You know what's interesting, Laura? People might be thinking about different things right now. Some of us may be talking about pitching a potential licensee. Some of us might be thinking about something we need to ask our spouse or our significant other. We have to make sure while we're going through this with you, this journey and kind of getting a little deeper with these things, because it can all just keep piling up what you're saying, or we can lock it in. Right before our call, Laura, while we were in the studio room, in the waiting room, I had somebody from Lazy Boy that I just set up an appointment with to pitch a product. So while you're going through all these steps with me and these laws, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do for my next pitch.
Exactly. And as we go through this, my exercise at the end was going to be think about the ask, the pitch you need to do within the next 2 weeks and apply these. Okay.
Great.
But my big thing about number 4, if you get, I have to think about it. The only thing you need to do is decide what the it is. You go off in a direction, they're thinking something else. You will never get what you want.
You're disconnected.
I did? My back?
No, I'm saying you're disconnected if you're
Oh,
in two
exactly.
different directions.
Exactly. And so what happens, Brian, is you're thinking, I asked too much. I asked the wrong person. I asked at the wrong time. They said it. So my suggestion for you is, I'll say, Evelyn, to the extent you feel comfortable, can you share with me, listen to those words, share with me what you're thinking about? And this is the most important part. I'm here to help you. Now, what did I just do? I brought you in close. I didn't blurt something out, step back. Did it stick? Didn't it? To the extent you feel comfortable, can you share with me what you're thinking about? I'm here to help. And guess what? They tell you. And Evelyn, they'll say to you, you know what, Laura, I've been thinking about it. Timing's not good. It's July. Get back to me September. Perfect timing. You know what? Way too much, way out of my ballpark. I can do this. Fine, the amount. You're asking the wrong person. My partner is the one in charge of this. Fine. Do you see what that does? To the extent you feel comfortable, can you share with me what you're thinking about? I'm here to help, and just be quiet. Okay. Now, law number 5. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but these are big laws. Plan your next move right there. So, Evelyn, they might say to you, September, right? So what do we do? Oh, great. I know September. No, you do not. You know 30 days in September. Okay. By the time you start, you're not going to get that person till October 17th. I guarantee you. So in the ask, you say to them, okay, September, how does the 17th sound at 10 o'clock? And you get it going and you nail it down here, right? Those 5 shrink down the time between what you want and how you get it.
Now, Laura, is this an appointment that you set and you're now starting the conversation?
This is
this more
this
like
is
a
the
cold
moment
call?
of the ask.
Okay.
Okay. This is not get to know you on. This is not we're in sync. I know you're interested. We have the possibility. And you set up, listen, here we go. I've listened to everything you said. I have an amazing opportunity, really worth your time. Just 10 minutes live or this way or on the phone. Trust me, it's well worth your time. That's when you roll it out.
Is it interesting to also know, just from doing phone sales and working with salespeople, because kind of that's what you have to do in a way. You don't have to necessarily say you're a salesperson, but you do have to sell yourself or whatever it is that you're offering. To be able to think about where they, as soon as they answer the phone, to think about what's going on behind them. Are they distracted? Are they paying attention? Because if they're not in the right frame of mind, it doesn't matter what you say or how much you work on all this other stuff. It's just not the right time.
Honesty wins the day. Brian, I've said many times, sorry, Evelyn, I'm using you because you're on the screen and there you are, girl. I'm just saying, you know what? I can sense something's going on. Did I get it wrong? Questions. And it's not an excuse. And I used to think that a long time ago. We were letting them over. But, you know, many times I've heard this and life gets in the way. Someone got ill. Someone can't do this. They can't get their kids to daycare. Whatever. Did I catch you at a bad time? Because what good is it for you to continue if it's a bad time? And you know what? They have more respect because you heard it. And the biggest thing is when people say to you, thank you, I've been heard. I can't tell you how important that is because you heard them and say, that's fine. We'll get back to you. No big deal.
Evelyn, what are you thinking about while Laura's kind of giving her advice here?
I think I could have used this information a long time ago.
Me too. Me too.
In so many different areas of this inventive process. And I just wish I had your book before we had the class, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna get it and we can discuss further September.
It happens, right? It's so true.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
exactly.
Small things, Evelyn, have transformational results. I just funnel it down so it's in your common language and your comfortability. Okay. And if you just follow them, who doesn't like steps? Who doesn't like structure? Even with your teams that you work with, if you just follow them, you have a path and it makes you feel good and gives you more confidence.
True. Absolutely true.
Great.
I'm writing everything down.
It's all in her book, which we have the link in the chat, and her book is called Hard Asks Made Easy, and it's Laura Fredricks. You can find it on any of the major bookstore websites. All right, Laura. So let's hear some next chapters.
So what I want to talk about is the step that everybody misses, and that's writing down the 15 things. I'm going to share a story about that because it is hard at first. I mean, you think about, oh, I can think of 4 or 5, but when it gets to 15, you're like, So anyway, what I'm going to say is think about this. I'm just going to read just a small paragraph. Have you ever been in a situation in which you have an important ask to make, and you just know that a boss, coworker, customer, client, friend, family member is going to pelt you with questions, and you may feel like you look like you don't know what you're talking about? That holds back your ask. Okay? We've all been there. You probably start going over in your head what they'll say, what you'll say, and before you know it, you have a colossal headache. Okay? What's worse, you do come across unprepared and unknowledgeable because it's difficult to recall on the spot the responses that sound so wonderful while you were thinking about them. The number one reason why people don't ask. Let's put it out. Everyone's on mute. You don't have to be on your camera, but I want to hear from you what you think the number one reason why people don't ask for anything.
Rejection.
Okay.
Fear of it. Fear of it.
Fear of it. Okay.
LTS Creative, I'm sorry, we saw your hand as we were going to the next part.
Yes, I wanted, I mean, when she said that if you are thinking of something I wanted to share, I'm the one who always hesitate because of fear of like rejection. I feel like I didn't collect myself enough evidence, something like that. But I've been wanting to launch my my design, I mean, for a long time, like 1 year more. I mean, I've been making jacket and I want to sell, and they're more, so I don't know how to ask. I know I need funding, but I don't know how to ask.
There's an example in the book. We're going to talk about that later. I'll get right to it. But why do you think, other than hesitation, fear, anyone else, why, you've all been there. You all are entrepreneurs and inventors. What has held back your ask?
Anybody else? I know that we have quite a bit of people in the app also.
No
live
confidence.
About fear of confrontation.
Confrontation. Good. Joseph. Perfect. Now remember, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm a young body and an old soul. Okay. The number one reason why people don't ask, they're afraid they'll hear a response they don't know how to address. And that's why we do the 15 things you think you'll hear. Okay.
Exactly what you're thinking
I have
about.
to, right, Joseph? I have to prepare more. They're going to say something. Who wants to look like deer in the headlights? Who wants to look like I'm not the owner of my company? I don't know every single stat going on. Who doesn't want to look like I have the budget, I have the people, I have the projections? Who doesn't want that? We all don't want that. But when you do law number 2 and you prepare 15 things, trust me, you will look, sound better. And the biggest thing is, Joseph, if you don't know, sit there and say to the person, flatter them. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing question. You know what? Let me get back to you tomorrow. I'm on it. That was a great question. It flatters people. And guess what then, Joseph? That becomes number 16. The thing about law number 2 is you might have 15. Watch, I have 327 on that list as far as responses. You're going to keep hearing, it's a learning curve. You're going to keep hearing add and add and add, and watch your confidence go up and up and up. The number one reason is that people are afraid they'll hear a response they're not prepared for, and they push it back. And guess what? The worst thing for all of you is that they funded somebody else, not you. And you turn around and 2 weeks later, you're like, huh? They gave them the money. Guess what? Because they were there. I'm not saying ask prematurely, but I am saying once you do prepare yourself, you'll be set to go. And if you don't know the answer, the most flattering thing is, I will get back to you. That was an awesome question.
You know what else also, Laura, I think is important is to know what you're almost like what you're asking for, and then coming back and starting with what you're saying, because you need a goal. What's the purpose of what it is that you're asking for?
Numbers and dates are your friends. Don't forget this. Like a lot of this is in the book, like what's an ask, what's not an ask. It's a big learning curve, folks. It has to be specific numbers, specific dates. And I'm talking December 15th. I'm not talking December. I'm talking 1 million. I'm not talking in the nature of a 7-figure. Numbers and dates. Why? It insults people. You haven't thought long and hard enough about where you want them in your business. They literally are insulted. You know what? They think you're going to turn around, make another call, make another whatever, get on the subway, get on the highway, and call somebody else. You didn't think enough, right? No one has ever said to me, this is outrageous, I'm insulted. What they said to me is, and it's in the book, like, what makes you think I have that kind of money? To which I responded, I have no idea, but what I do have is a great idea that once you invest, it's going to be the best thing you ever did. Any moment of time, you truly do not know what people have and what they don't have. And honesty wins the day. If you get blindsided by something like that, say, you're right, I have absolutely no idea, but what I do know, and get into your passion. Get into why you did it. Get into why you want them to be with you on this journey. Everybody wants a design for them. Keep that in mind. Everyone, like I say, is their own mini campaign. You have a campaign to get this person on board with you.
Thank you, Laura. David, you were unmuted for a moment. Did you want to say something? David?
No, not yet. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions or comments for Laura at this point? Anything in the app, you can go ahead and ask it in the app. Andy is actively watching, and we'll share your questions with Laura. Joe?
Yeah, hi, thank you. I'm sitting here shaking my head, yes, to everything you're saying, Laura, but I feel like when it comes time to actually being there alone and in that, let's say, predicament, what do you have to say as far as just not just be prepared with those questions or that list of things or rebuttals, but how would you tell us to go about keeping that level of perceived, what's the word I'm looking for? Confidence in what you're talking about.
Okay. It's a great question. So, Joseph, what I want to say to you is this is going to give you great confidence. At the moment of the ask, right? Okay. You've met the person, you know there's someone interested in you, whatever your ask is, you've done the 2 laws. Number 3, time to shine. Okay. This is very important. It's going to get right into what you said. Every ask you make going forward will have the ask formula. And here we go. It's 2 sentences and a question. 2 sentences and a question. Joseph, this is really going to help you. You know why? You've kept it simple. And the ask formula is you talk 25, they talk 75. What gives you confidence is when they're talking, not you. And they're asking you questions and they're whatever. And it's going to like relax you because don't have to be so on. When you realize you don't have to, most asks are not given because you over ask the ask, which is why I say it's 2 sentences and a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keep it 75-25. And you do it, Joseph, that way by asking good questions. Tell me more. Did I get this right? From what I understand, is that whatever? And be that superior listen. I have this whole chapter in the book of listening with presence. It's one thing to listen and look down and look whatever. People can read you like this. Okay? I want eye contact. I want your body language. Watch what comes back to you. There's very little you have to do if you're listening with presence and someone feels like, wow, you really, really care about me. Now, listen, Joseph, will they test you? Oh, heck, they will, right? They'll throw things out and make sure that like it throws you off or it doesn't. But when you sit there and say, tell me more, that was interesting, keep going, just keep going. And it will really, for me, it relaxes me and makes me feel like they understand I'm here for them. No one exists but you right now.
And a connection. I feel like it's a strong connection. One thing, Laura, I think also,
Thanks,
Joseph, when you're talking about that, we said fear, objection, rejection, these type of things. But you know what, Laura? I think one of the things that are really important are being prepared. And you said to list out those 15 in and 15 out.
Yeah.
If you got your together, you're going to go in pretty confident. And if there's something that's off and it turns out to be number 16, and if you answer it, that's great. And if not, I don't know, I'll get back to you. That just builds up more credibility than giving me a line of BS.
Right.
And I think that the research and the prep, who knows your product or your idea better than you? They don't know what you're about to say because you didn't say it yet. So I think that it's really important with that first law or second law that Laura mentioned, and you'll see probably because you're skipping to that part, but she's giving you the first two.
That's right. That's right. Be prepared, be personable, be present. The 3 P's of any ask. But the be present, like just like Brian said, establishes the unspoken connection without you even saying anything.
Right.
That's the connection. When you really look, how do you feel when someone really looks in your eyes? You're like, wow, someone really cares about me. Now, I know it's really hard, but that's why I say, don't do too much of this in one day. I mean, if today's your ask day, make it one person. Okay. So I'm not saying because people see right through you in a second. Okay. And they can sit there and hear and remember your tone is your superpower. So when they feel like you're really, really caring about them, that this is important, that right now you being with my company is really going to make like a significant difference in your life, in my life, and what the product does, people get it. Okay. And they also know the BS, as Brian said. But once you do this, unquestionable, you're good to go.
You know, it's interesting also, Laura, and I kind of put this from the sales perspective. That's why I'm also, when I'm doing different things, I always not just say words, but I think about all these things that you do. So I could be your number one student, and everybody else here also. But one thing that's also stands out to me when I make sure instantly, and it's almost like you have to make this into a habit, is to hear what's going on behind them. Are they going to hear your message or are they distracted? And then are they a fast talker and you're a slow talker? Are you really fast and they're really slow and you're disconnected? So instantly, and you have to make this a habit, as soon as somebody picks up the phone or you're talking to somebody and you hear that they're kind of chill, slow, you got to match to be able to let them hear what you're saying, because if you're totally off, they're going to run in their mind.
They are. And you can't be someone you're not, but there's all parts of mirroring, and the other thing is, and I've been in that situation with some clients, Brian, but like, just to do a simple example, it's like, oh, you reminded me of my best friend. Like, we can go out here and they run so much faster and I got to catch up with them. And you remind me so much of them. And so if you can't get to that fast speed, right, just bring it home. Just say, oh my God, you remind me of like this. And the bonding starts. Just like, do not be someone you're not, because they're going to know it. But you can always bond with a story. It's like, oh my God, I was on this great call and Brian had this great advice, and I would never thought about it, but I took the ball and I read. I mean, people love stories, right? But keep them short. But people love stories. Keep them short.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments that they'd like to share? Yep, Evelyn.
What was your inspiration for the book? Was it personal? Did you see it in a lot of clients, or was it law school?
No, Evelyn, was really personal, because I had written a lot of books on the ask. It first started in philanthropy, which I became known for. Then it started in business, which I became known for. And then it was everyday living, and it was building, right? But then, like, you know, that the live at home 2.5 years hit. And I love to write, I love to help people, but I can only do it when something comes to me and I can solve a problem. But the problems were coming to me. And as I said in the beginning, people were saying, this is deep, Laura. I mean, like, listen, we had 2 years to really think about what we wanted and what we didn't want, what mattered and what doesn't matter. And to Brian's point, when you're out there creating and doing a great, venture and on thinking about the people, and I want to say this, you need to ask people in priority order who have the greatest assets in the shortest amount of time to help you. Okay? Greatest assets, shortest amount of time to help you. You need this priority list. We're getting back to structure. So I got the inspiration from people telling me, I don't like my lifestyle. I don't like work. I want to start and be an entrepreneur. How many entrepreneurs grew out of COVID? I mean, Brian, you probably know this stat better than I do, but they're all coming to me. I've had this idea. I've had this. And I'm like, structure. Okay. Is this a hustle? Is this your business? Is this a 3-year projection? Is this what? So the inspiration came to me because people came to me and saying, I need to change my life. And I'm like, I can help you, but we need structure to this. And you need to surround yourself with people. And here's my biggest point for you, who know, like, and trust you. I don't care if you're asking for an investor. I don't care if you're asking for a mentor, networking. We have a lot of that on our app. Know, like, and trust you. You are 90% to yes if the people you surround yourself know, like, and trust you. Does that answer your question, Evelyn?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Anytime. Love having you asking the questions.
What else you have for us, Laura?
Well, what I want to talk about is, as the question came out from ABCD, about creating something. And I can read from the book, but I love you guys. I know you'll read the book, whatever, on audio, whatever. But I just want to synthesize, Brian, if that's okay for you. It's
Absolutely.
probably more interactive. There was a very young girl, very amount of years ago, came to me. Her name was Maddie, and she was 19 years old, and she wanted to launch her own design, her own line. It's like fabulous dresses and shirts and on and on. And she came to me and said, I know I need 1.2 million on that. She had her budget, she had her projections, but she didn't have the people to ask. And of course, it's like, where do I go? Now she's 19. Okay. So I said, tell me about the people in your life. And she did. And the number one person was her mentor, who also was her professor at FIT, who actually did very, very well in other ventures. Okay. Now, she didn't want to ask him, like a lot of people here, we'll get to it, don't want to ask people that might feel awkward. Could be a family member, could be a colleague, could be a friend, could be past boss, could be whatever. So I sat there and I said, how is he going to feel if this business launched and you didn't go to him first? Like I'm telling you, you need this primacy list is very, very important, but it's how you do it. So I fashioned her ask in 2 sentences and a question, and she met him. And, she said, listen, I have no idea if you can do it, but this has been my passion for it. And it was about 5 years. Right now, I'm looking for $500,000 investment that I need paid over 8 months. Question, is this something we can talk about? Your opinion is invaluable to me. 2 sentences and a question. And he came back and said, I would have been really upset if you didn't come to me. Of course, I'll help you. It will take me 2 years, but I'll help you get other people. It is imperative that you have this list of people that you ask in priority order. I get asked this all the time. Should I do GoFundMe? Should I get seed money? Should I get grant money? And push it all away. That's my opinion. Other people who might be on Brian's former book clubs or, future book clubs might differ. That's fine. This is how I do it. If you start with a GoFundMe, every single investor is going to say, you did good, keep going. Why should an investor go with you if you started a GoFundMe? You've already labeled yourself your small time. Okay? If you're dreaming big and this is something you've really worked on, you say to them, I've thought long and hard who I want with me in this business. This may be something you want. It may be something you don't, but I have an excellent idea for you. Can we talk about it? Okay? So that's my idea. I know our fabulous woman from ABCD was on here, but just make a list of people in priority order who can do the biggest amount in the shortest amount of time and be sincere. That might include family, it might include friends. But I'm telling you, if you don't ask them, they look around and in time, you will get this. Well, I can't believe you didn't come to me. You never want to be in that position. And you don't insult them if you've done it the right way, tone and sincerity. Brian, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you, Laura. Without asking them immediately, and for us to prepare and think about what we want to say to them, if they're the right person, what kind of questions do you ask yourself to know that and it might be uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens, when it's uncomfortable, but how do we make it easier?
Do I believe they're aligned with something I'm about to talk about? Do I know that? So here's my thing. I have many mantras. People leave clues, you miss every one of them. People leave clues, you miss every one of them. Pick up and say, oh, Joseph, I heard you say that you like this. I have something that might be aligned with what you're doing. Can we talk about it? Number one, Brian, are they aligned with what you're doing? If in the initial conversation, if you have no idea, that's when you find the alignment. Number two, on a list of where this may go, might this be a priority of yours now or in what timeline? Get to their priority list. They might say, and this is very important because it happened to me. I've invested in 2 things that went nowhere and I'm not in the mood to do this again. Now, you coming in asking for it is only going to bring up bad feelings, bad investments, paper shares that went nowhere.
Timing.
Find out their past experience and say, this is what you have to say. I'm very sorry that happened to you. Let me talk. Let me hear more about it. Don't dive in and say how you're different. Let me hear more about it so then you can distinguish yourself. Remember I said the question 75-25. Let me hear more about it. What was that like? How long ago was that? And did anyone ever reach out to you again?
Interesting. What about personal? What if it is your family and we're all cringing for that ask?
Right. So this is what I do. I say, listen, first of all, your family, they all know what you're doing. If they don't, maybe they're not your family. Okay. They all know what you're doing. Okay. Just say to them, here's a good, you all know what I'm doing. And right now this is at this stage. Sentence number 1. Number 2, again, I have no idea if you're interested in learning a bit more or maybe even having a future with it. Can we talk about it, or does this make you uncomfortable? Who is going to sit there and never speak to you at Thanksgiving dinner again? Okay.
They're curious too.
It's
right?
how you say it. It's your tone. But believe me, they all know you're doing this. This is all you talk about. Okay. And to be left out to them is like, hey, they didn't come to me. Or just say, you know what? You go do your thing. You have whatever. I say, great. But now let me tell you, no now is not no never. Say, hey, life is long. If it's okay with you, I'll let you know how I'm doing and I'll circle back. Watch what comes to you.
Very interesting. Is there any questions that anybody has? Hi, Herb. Welcome, welcome. Anything that anybody has to ask Laura? Questions, comments? No? Okay. Well, it's interesting, Laura, because people are at all different stages of where they are in their ask. Maybe it doesn't even matter, because if you're in the beginning stages, you need to ask. You need to ask questions. You need to ask people for help, whether they're a resource for you, whether they're something that, well, I guess it's something to advance what you're looking to build, whether it's a licensing deal, whether it's to manufacture, whether it's an engineer or a prototype or whatever it is, you got to ask people, and you have to remember that you're in control. And it sounds to me, Laura, because you kind of made a couple statements and then asked a question, it sounds to me like whoever asks the question is in control.
100%. The listener wins all the time. Hey, Herb.
I have a question for you, Laura.
Okay.
What happens when there are no questions?
Say,
Go
ahead.
We live in a world now where a big shift is taking place.
Right.
The world is being transformed, and 99% of its population isn't aware. And creative people are immersed in preparing for this wonderful event that's going to transform everybody's lives.
Right.
And they're not able to get the support, the response, the sort of enthusiasm, and the ability to share, which is so important to all parties involved. So can you add
Sure.
some
So
context to
Herb,
that?
before I respond, what is the thing that you feel is shutting people down? Is it artificial intelligence? Is it what are you talking
No,
about?
it's a consciousness revolution that's taking place, that's shifting our mindsets, but our conditioning is not responding to it in a productive, creative manner.
Okay. So you feel like creativity is going way, way, way down, almost lost. Correct?
It's not even being recognized.
Well,
Okay.
it's tough because that's just an opinion. I mean, if you
No,
hung
it's
out
an
with me,
experience.
if you
It's an experience
it's an
because when you
experience, absolutely. If you hung out with me for a day, you'd see that innovation is quite strong. It's the questions that people need to ask to be able to keep them moving forward. And that's why
well,
Laura's
that
here
was the
with
point.
us.
That was beautiful. That was my concern. It's the question. That's what I introduced the topic with.
Right. Right.
There are no questions from the people who can begin to wake up and realize that they're full of questions that they're not even asking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all I can say is, take the best, leave the rest. There are plenty of people. If you feel like you're against a wall, move on. It's not going to go anywhere. It's totally fine. But let me tell you, investments are being made, and I'm just going to give you a big stat out of the world of philanthropy, and it's something that you all should know. This $87 trillion is going to pass within the next 10 years from the elderly baby boomers to either their spouses, significant others, or their children. Okay? $87 trillion. People need to do something with that. People want to do good with it, but they also like major investments. And I've been following this for a very long time. There's been investments of, God knows, 10 million or more since we've ever begun tracking this. So, Herb, when you get against the wall, and I'm sorry this is coming to you, just lift your sights a little bit higher and know it's happening every single day. And maybe you got to get out of the different geographic location you're at, maybe the circle you're in, on and on. But Brian can back me. This is happening. He just got a call from Lazy Boy. I just got a call from somebody else. I mean, it's happening. And When you have a positive mindset, it's going to follow you. I'm sorry this has happened to you, and I feel for you because I've been there too. But keep going.
Laura, we're talking about having direct connection conversations with people. But this day and age, there's many people that prefer to text message, email. How do you portray the same or get the same context out?
You do it.
Voice?
You do it. You do it. It's in my book. What do you do if it's a text? What do you do if it's a call? What if you do it's a Zoom? What if you do is whatever? You have to meet the person where they're most comfortable, or we're going nowhere. Okay. Do I like this kind of ask? Oh, heck no. Do I like this? Even less. Okay. But if that's the world we're in, that's where we're in. But everything I've talked about can be applied there. Just watch your tone in text messages. It can be curt, it can be whatever, and it can turn people off. I prefer the phone is good. Zoom is great. I mean, look, we're looking at each other right now. Right. I can see people who are looking at me on, you just got to embrace it. And it's not my favorite thing, but it's how the world wants to communicate. If it's an email, if it's a short thing, people are traveling now. Who isn't in Europe at this moment other than us? So, I mean, it's just the way it is. And I don't like it as much as you don't hurt, but I much prefer being in person. But again, I started out saying we might have one shot at this. And so let's make it our best.
Thank you. Abraham?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Herb.
Hey, Laura. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Abraham?
Doing very well. Yeah, traveling for sure.
Oh, I love it. I love when people are there. I can tell. Yay!
So my hesitation in ask is, and I think you addressed it a little bit, is feeling that I'm not prepared or that I don't have enough content. I don't have enough information, backup, numbers to be able to ask. And I understand that there's different levels of ask. So I'm not going to ask for $3 million when I just started last week, but I may ask for 100,000 just to get me off started. So where do you see the balance of not being ready enough to ask for the million, but okay to ask for the 100,000?
Okay. So Abraham, first of all, whatever you're doing, you have to know your numbers 3 months, a year, 2 years, period. Okay. Your projections, where we're going. We all know that. Okay. Now, if it's a month or 2 months and you need some seed money, some startup money, you have to figure out what they're going to get out of this as well. But my biggest thing is, why'd you pick them? Okay. You can't just make it a number. You have to talk from the heart and say to them, you know what? I'm not good at this. Okay. But what I do know is this, and I've invested blank, blank, and blank, and this is what I'm doing. I want you to come along with me. Can we talk about it? All right. People in the beginning there's people that like to be the beginning of the journey. You have to know that personality. There's people in the middle. Okay, enough of you have joined. I'm good. And at the end, which is Laura's favorite, I love the closers. Love the closers. Okay. But you have to figure out which personality type you're going to pick. But again, Abraham, if you tell me, why me? Okay. Otherwise, I'm a number and you're done. And the other thing is, if you need 100,000, where's it going to go? Show me the numbers. How do we, biggest question you can ask, how do we communicate and how often? So you have this meeting and the person maybe wants to give you $100,000. Your question has to be, before we even get there, I want to know and be in sync with you. How do we communicate? This way, this way, this way, and how often? I will accommodate you. Watch what happens.
Very cool.
And second question to that is part of me not doing the ask is because I don't know what the investor's going to want from me.
Well, that's a big question. That's a big question. Each person's different. You will never know. Aaron, you will never know, because even if you anticipate what they had done for different deals, it might not apply to you. So again, the 15 things you think you're going to get asked, that question is, all right, what's in it for me? You then have to write down what's in it for them, and then you ask. Please do law number 2. Take your time. It might take you a day per person, but it's worth it.
Totally.
Think about it. Think about what that person wants from you. And if you don't have the answer, don't go.
You know,
need
it's
to
interesting.
Think about what you want. What do you think that person wants? And say to them, I'm anticipating you want this. Did I get it right? Not, I'll give you this. So different. Okay.
Okay.
Really
So
interesting.
so have that anticipation of what they want, and use that as like a baseline for me.
Yes. Question. It's simple, Abraham. Did I get it right? And be quiet. Say part of it, but I want this and this. And then again, in the 15 things, can you do it? And the hardest thing is walking away, but don't take it if you can't do it. Got it? That's why law number 2 is so important. Okay, you're going to be practicing.
How do you know when you're coming on too strong? And this could be for anything, right?
Your tone,
dating,
so easy, Brian. Yeah. Your tone will go like this. You will be selling and talking and in body language. You see what I'm doing? That will tell you you're selling too hard.
I wish
take a deep breath and push back.
I wish one of the inventors who usually come on were on tonight, but yesterday he called me before he had a really big meeting today, and we were kind of prepping for it, and he's like, so what should I ask her? What should I ask the lady, because she's she's an influencer in his field, right, that he was going to meet, and she could have changed his life. And the meeting was today. It went very well, but to prepare, we talked about letting her answer how she can help him. And then he had this list of things, this and that and that and this, like he was prepared when she would say, I can help you in this way. Then he knew how to kind of align with it. So I feel pretty good from, good, just being in the zone of our conversations before this, to be able to help him and give him some good advice. But
Brian, you picked on something so key. All of you, listen, in your meetings, you're going to hear, how can I help you? It's time to go. We skipped over it. We talk over where we are in life, what's going on. And Brian picked up it right away. How can I help you? That's stage number 15. Since you asked me, so brilliant, you've been asked, you don't even have to ask. These are the 3 things I need, and be ready with 3. The human brain cannot remember more than 3 in a conversation. Be ready to go with 3. I need, Abraham, I need $100,000 by September 1st that will do this, and someone just like you. 1, 2, 3. Be prepared for it. But Brian's so astute on this about, you're going to hear, how can I help you? Be ready. Okay. And the other thing is, how can I help? What do you need? What can I do? That's the time to ask. People always ask me, when do you ask? When you hear these things, and I skipped over them, I'm showing you all by my mistakes. I skipped over this too many times, and I regret it. What do you need? How can I help? What can I do? And all you say is, since you asked me, these are the 3 things I need. And watch your whole body calm down. Just calm down.
Love it. Laura, you mentioned that there's the 19-year-old FIT designer and other people that come your way. I'd like if you can share with us. We have an opportunity to purchase your book, which is Hard Asked Made Easy. And you can find Laura. We included the link in the chat here, and we'll also include it in the app details. But Laura, you also work with people one-on-one.
One-on-one.
Prepare. Right. Is it a course? Is it a one-timer type of thing? Like, hey, Laura, I got my big, I got my venture capital people, or I have this potential licensee that I'm going to pitch. Can you put me in the mindset? What do you do?
Right. Well, besides using the words coaching and training, I work with individuals just like you to get you where you need to go. And it's, usually it's a series of meetings, it's a couple months. But the big thing is, here we go. And this is what I do. What's your goal? We work backwards. What's your goal? We set it. I'll know the timeline. We work backwards. The thing that I do for you is listen to who you want to go to, listen to what they've said, and then I'll be able to craft your conversation, because everybody is their own mini campaign. And that's how we raise money. So that's what I do. And I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of training. And I am very passionate about this subject, as you can tell. Very passionate.
I'm afraid if I didn't listen to you.
We learn together, right? We learn
Good.
together.
Yes, absolutely. So amazing. Look, we touch on various topics here in our Inventor Smart Community app. Andy, thank you for your support and coordinating all this for us. And I'm happy that our friendship through the grapevine brought us together, Laura.
Indeed,
So thank you for that.
indeed. Thank you, Licensing International.
That's right. And let's keep in touch. We have
Will
our
do.
monthly live streaming National Inventor Club meetings, and we do have various authors that come on and give a 2-minute intro, tip, and advice to the inventor community that's watching and listening in our audience. And we'd love to have you continue to plant seeds in our brain and stay in touch. So we appreciate you very much.
Consider it done. Thank you, Brian. An honor to be asked.
Thank you. Any other final comments or questions for Laura before we call it a night? Amar, I see you're unmuted. I don't know if that means you want to talk or not. But did you find Laura's commentary here interesting?
Awesome. Really good.
I take that to heart. Thank you, Amar.
And we do have, I think, Abraham put your book in his shopping cart. So great. We'll
Awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
So one final ask I have, if you are so gracious to get the book, which is terrific, just write a 1 or 2 line review on Amazon. It really, really helps, and it spreads the words. And believe it or not, this book resonates with high school students. They've been left behind since COVID, don't know how to get jobs, talk to friends, ask for dates, do whatever. And so I'm speaking to a lot of high schools. And so the book really does not have any age limit. And so if there's kids, or if there's elder parents, and Brian's so gracious to have me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to spread the word. So thank you.
You very much. Laura, one final line or 2 words of wisdom. We're at all stages of our ideas. We're pumped up, we're excited, we're anxious, we're nervous. We need to get people involved to get us to the next steps.
Right.
Close us out.
My money's on you. It is confidence that wins. It's your tone and your sincerity. Just be natural who you are and believe in you. Watch what comes your way. No now is never, no never. Just say, life is long. Can I circle back with you? The big fear is that people are going to say no. So if they said no, you've heard that since the age of 2. Okay, just say, that's fine. Can I circle back with you? People love that because they feel like you're going to drop them as soon as they say whatever. But when you don't, they stay with you. And my biggest piece of advice is ask, believe, receive.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Laura. We will keep in
too.
touch and see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you again, Andy, for putting this together. And have a great night and keep
Thank you, Laura.
ideas forward.
Thank you,
And
Joseph.
don't forget to ask.
Laura.
Don't forget to ask.
Early and often, Brian. Early and often.
Thank you.
Thank you again. An honor to be on.
Thank you.